I'm the voice of African identity. I speak what other people fear to say, that as African, we are God. Our mind, our imagination, it's where God lives. This subject, many people don't like to talk about it. I can tell you, the truth for Africans begin with one crucial point. Africa must reclaim our identity. And to reclaim identity is to remember who we were before colonial came to Africa. This is what I'm talking about. Africa must reclaim African identity. Is to remember who we were before they came. That is what we talk African identity crisis. African, wherever we were in the world, there is identity crisis. Why do we lose our African names? Names is something deeper we lost. All African had the practicing culture, they were naming their children. The whole continent. But it been interfered. We will be given the name that not ours. The name that do not come from our ancestors. The name that do not carry our history. And we accept them without question. And that is where the question is. My brother, my sisters, you have been accepted those names, it thinks like yours. When I question you, you bring another thinking question to defend. And you know the history. It's not true. And you know those are not African names. And they say a man who loses his name, he had to lose himself. He don't know who you are. You ask a man a name, he doesn't know what the meaning the name is carrying. Because you remember, your name was not just about word. It's your identity. It represents your history. It represents your tribe and where you're coming from. And we know that. We know that because most as Africans, we know more the history of Africans. The one which will be written by a colonizer. And he wrote it to defend himself. Most what he say, most what we learn, most the book, the history we are learning, most of those books were written by colonizer. It made us to divide us. You look the calendar of the year, every celebration we have, it just comes from outside. Only celebration as African we get most is independence, wars, but we don't have our culture, independence to celebrate. Most things we ignore, everything our ancestors given to us. And that is why we are divided. We are confused. When I told you, you have Africa, white names, you have Arabs' name, you become confused. You don't understand those names are not ours. They made us confused. And for me, what is most of the times, I wonder how comfortable you are with it. Some other people say, oh, I'm African, but I can't get African names. I understand you, young people, because you have been confused. We have been telling you what yours is not good at all. You are not good at yourself. That is why a young man can say that. that I'm African, but I don't want to get African names, because that is where I came in to bring solution. My program here is to question and to get the answer, to do and to become who we want to be, and to remember who we were before colonizer came, and to take back our identity. Africa must reclaim African identity. That is what we need to do. I done it. I have experience about it. That always I keep encouraging you young people. Don't continue to learn history. Let's we take action. And this action is come from you individual. Action thinking, action goals, and action to come to do what we want to be. There's no other way. But here, the truth, many are afraid to say, the greatest damage was not physical, it was mental. And the question always came to my mind another day. I was wondering, how come many African leaders, many great African who came, who fight to have independence, who fight African to have right to have a life, can talk to about Nelson Mandela who fought, many, Julius Nyerere, Kwame Nkrumah, we can even talk many people who fight. But I was wondering, no one mentioned about identity. No one mentioned why do we have the African name. Why most readers, no one has mentioned that. All African reader, no one bring this issue. But I remember one former president of DRC was called Zaire, Mobutu Sese Seko. Is one person I can remember in Africa, high profile, who did it. But most other ones never did it. But now I wonder, I know the reason now, because they had to fight first the problem which was taking the land, also to have the freedom. We had the issue physically to take back the land. And that is where also the mind of white person did it on purpose, because he knows when you took control of another person's mind, is work better than continue to take the land. Always a white person or a color has what we call exit strategy. The exit strategy was to give back the land, to give back the power to the Africans, but to continue to control them in the mind. And that is what we are. That is the current situation we are in now. The reason we can't do what we're supposed to do is because we lose the power of mind. We lose our identity, we lose our name, being given different identity by other community, especially by the white community. Told us what to do, told us what to be, told us what to have, what to eat, because he colonized us and he still colonizes us through the mind. African must reclaim their identity. That's the most powerful we need to have. All other things we got to have it. We started, there is a huge development, there is infrastructures. African is moving forward in every single step. But we must know who we are. We must learn our history. We must respect our culture, because it been interfered. In Rwanda, we used to have a name, Kinyarwanda ubyita kwita izina. That was their culture, but we keep forgetting about it, because most what they teach us is about inferiority of what our ancestors has done. they teach us about negative, and we're still carrying it. We haven't changed it to become positive. That's why we're still arguing among us all the time. When I tell you this is not our name, and now these days with technology, it's easy. I can tell you, Google it. You go to find the right answer. But can you change it? Can you change your name if you know the truth that the name you're carrying is not African name? I'm Ndizeye Rubasha, and I choose to reclaim my identity. I choose to stand for some things many Africans are afraid to say, because silence is what is allowed to continue. My brother, my sisters, Africa will not rise only because of resources, because of development. We need that. But to be there where we want to be proud of ourselves, to be proud of our continent, to be proud of our achievement, to be proud of our ancestors, Africa will rise when Africans remember who they are. That is a must to be done. To have all riches, to have everything, and to have your identity. That was going to be. Everything's for Africa. The pride is in our mind. The pride is in our identity. My question, will you continue to follow, or will you reclaim your identity? It's hard to do, but I can tell you I did it. And this is individual thinking, individual goals, individual action. That is African must remember who we are. Africa reclaim African identity.